Triple H gives a tour of WWE Insane HQ with $2 million in rare wrestling collectives. Story. And these stupid captions never fucking leave my screen.
Things that meant something to you at various points in your life. I'm a big believer in if you don't know where you came from or your history, it's hard to have a feel for where you want to
go. Okay. WWE headquarters. I didn't even know they had the headquarters.
It is the game, Triple H. Welcome to the headquarters here at WWE.
All right. HHH, Triple H.
The 2006 old office that DX spray painted, the DX. I don't think any of that would fly at this new headquarters.
You don't need a spray paint this one. You don't need DX to do any of that. This one has its own special flair, and you know what I love about this place is it speaks to WWE, whereas our old offices were just that, offices. But this speaks to WWE. When you walk in here, whether you're walking through the front lobby and being greeted by a 30-foot
Andre the Giant.
Video walls everywhere that are very reminiscent of being at our productions or being up here and, you know, seeing all these video boards where champions can be displayed, or these can all change to other things for production, promotion, functioning ring.
So this is a functioning ring.
Yeah, this is a legitimate ring, fully functioning, just like we would have that television. Maybe a few light modifications would need to be made to be able to use it. We wouldn't have the exposed, you know, steel on the corners or things like that. But the beauty of this is you see this space, you can come in here.
Triple H.
You can run an event from here. But we do a lot of different activations for partners and clients. We do Boys and Girls Club. This place packed with kids, deafeningly packed with kids for the holidays, and Santa Claus came out and people were going crazy. We did not get a stunner ring, contrary to what we would normally do. But, you know, this place speaks to WWE, and everywhere that you go through it, whether it's coffee areas or cafeterias or meeting rooms.
They got mad championships.
WWE, it has a flair.
Money in the bank.
Or this came later?
No, I think if I remember correctly, just open spaces.
Okay.
Like, hey, what can we do here in this open space? Well, what if we put a ring in there?
Okay.
So architects come in and make suggestions, but then it helped that they were also fans.
Okay.
But it also helps us. Like, we have a massive warehouse full of memorabilia and collectible items that a lot of people would be fascinated with. So to be able to put that on display, you know, it's just sitting in a dusty warehouse. Doesn't do a lot with it. You know, people always ask us all the time about a brick and mortar Hall of Fame. And that might still be something in the future, but for us, we would rather have open, workable spaces that people can come to and see. But for the people that work here, to be able to have them live in WWE every day instead of just going to work in a cubicle like they work.
What is this?
Some other boring job, no offense to bankers.
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah. The collecting of things, especially in our business,
DX.
Collectibles, it's more about making sure that that history is protected and that lasts for generations and that people can see it for far too long. I think
Look at those
we have
titles.
this giant warehouse of all these things that we'd accumulated over the year, but it was just sitting in there, falling apart, collecting dust, and to
Look at that Triple H masks. That's so fire.
immortalized, I think, is the coolest thing in the world.
We have an assortment of amazing collectibles. I think maybe from the warehouse they brought these in, but like let's start here. 1998, the DX invasion. This helmet.
Yes, sir. I remember that.
But this is like etched in people's brains for like what you guys did that night.
Yeah, you know, it's hard for, I think, people today to understand it. Like, if you go back in time to that time period, us invading.
Yep, I remember
it was
that.
just like an unthinkable moment.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't even talk about other things or people that left or that were other promotions or whatever. It wasn't even brought up. So for us to, you know, throw these helmets on and jump on a Jeep with a big cannon on the back and ride over to their show was unthinkable, and sort of was a paradigm shift in the business of like, okay, gloves are off, we're going to do anything.
Totally. It was like literally the definition of like keeping the same energy in real life.
Yeah.
Which you hear all the time.
Yeah, 100%. And luckily for us, you know, it could have got hostile over there, so we had helmets on just in case.
And then here I want to go.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things we have here.
Crazy. Andre the Giant's Halliburton briefcase, like original one. It's very funny. He has like bumper stickers, kind of like that signifying.
I'm not deaf. I'm ignoring you.
Exactly. He was sending a message with these stickers on it, but even in the briefcase.
Yeah, if I wanted to hear from an asshole, I would have farted. His classic Andre the Giant. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, if he would have farted, everyone would have. Yeah. Andre's press kit in there from Princess Bride. I don't know. I feel like it's bad juju if you were to remove anything from this case. Totally. Display it differently. I feel like it should be left the way it was.
But from what I understand, he was very proud of the movie, and like this is what he would travel show to show, or even on trips. This exact briefcase, and then he kept this close to his heart.
This was his travel briefcase. I think when he got towards the end, he wasn't traveling.
Andre the Giant.
That were closest to him in there. Princess Bride was one of his biggest achievements to him in his life, and really meant a lot to him. So the fact that it is the way he left it, and still with that in there, to me is
amazing.
Just makes it that much more special.
There's been different iterations, I think, of memorabilia, but there's a lot of original stuff. This is the original Undertaker urn.
Yeah.
I feel like he's looking over us, right? Over there, but this is the original.
If you touch it, the lights go off. Yeah. Yeah, that's the original Undertaker urn, which is crazy to think about. Yes. You know, the thing with our
75,000.
You see it, and it's a part of our show. It sort of, in many ways, can become iconic to a particular moment that I have to think our business is very much like music.
Okay.
In that it's constantly changing. When you hear certain things or you see certain moments in our programming, it takes you back to that time in your life.
Yes.
If you were a kid and you saw Taker walk out for the first time with that urn, it brings you back to that moment in your life of being a kid. Seeing things like this, so that the giant painting mural behind us is from the very first Netflix show. And it was created for that show as part of the Open. And when it was being done, we were like, we have to display it. It's so cool.
Yes.
And we have to display this somewhere. And that this was the perfect space for it.
There's still dents in this.
Yeah, I'm sure from somebody's head. I don't know who.
And then Bray Wyatt, of course, the light.
Yeah, the original lantern, which for me is really cool because Bray and I worked together on that very first moment of that entrance, and there's a moment in time where they were looking for him to, like, oh, we're gonna have lasers and we're gonna have all this stuff. He and I talked about it. I was like, does this feel right to you? He's like, no, it doesn't. And I went back and talked to our guys and was like, well, this is the exact opposite. This guy's he's a cult leader from the swamps.
Yeah.
Like, he shouldn't have, like, as a backwoods guy, he should, like, what would scare me is him coming through the woods at night carrying this lantern, and I can barely see his face and make out who he is, and that's how the concept came to be. Bray was like, I love that, and then we started riffing on it and how we can do it, and I can still picture him with Harper and Rowan behind him, with us trying to move the lantern to where we could see his face and see them slightly enough to get them, but not see too much, and him being like, this thing's too fucking heavy, I can't hold my arm up this long, you know what I mean? And just all the bits and pieces that go into the creation of these, for me, make them even more special.
Fire.
For fans, they're iconic things that create moments in time.
Iconic.
Absolutely. We have one more stop. We have to go to your office. There's a bunch of gems in there. We'll end there.
All right.
Triple H.
And I wouldn't have any of them.
Stephanie McMahon.
So I think the title belts to me represent the pinnacle of this business, and for me it's honoring that history. I feel a strong sense of
Randy Orton, The Rock.
being the caretaker of that business. It's about so much more than finances and TV contracts and deals and all that stuff, because at the end of the day, none of that exists without the other.
One item I want to talk about that was in the headquarters is the sledgehammer. And I feel like the sledgehammer is kind of tied to the game era after DX, but talk about that item, and I think it was even hard to acquire it back, right?
Yeah, we did it in one of the memorabilia shows. To be honest, I just used whatever hammer was available.
Okay.
I used it one time because I needed, like, I ended up smashing a coffin with it that Ron was in, and it just became synonymous with me after that, sort of, over the years, used various ones. I I did not like using, every now and then they'd have a prop one
Okay.
or something. Ironically, the only time I ever injured anybody with the hammer was with Taker, and we were going to, I believe it was WrestleMania. He was going to put me up for last ride, and I was going to grab the hammer on the way up.
Oh, okay.
But we were so afraid that could I get all the way up there and still use it, so we used a gimmick sledgehammer that had like a foam head.
Okay.
Because it was much lighter, and when I went up top and hit him in the head with it, I held onto the foam part to protect him, and the handle went all the way through the foam part and cut him.
Wow.
From like here to here.
Okay.
I hit him, I had no idea. He went down. When I came up, he was bleeding. I was like, holy shit, what happened? You know, he was just covered.
Is there one item that you have on your radar to like try to get back, or you leave it to the archivist, or is there one that sticks out that you would love to like see every day?
There are things that are out there. I'm a huge history buff of the business, and especially moments from the past that sort of get you where they are. So like even this wall collection, when we were building this office space, for me was, if I can wave one, what would I want to have in here? It's the representation of the lineage of this company.
Yeah.
And if you walk through this, it starts over here in the very beginning, and this is something we found. This is the championship that
Buddy Rogers
came in with.
Damn.
There was controversy at the time. So he had this title that he used to bring from territory to territory. And this, if you look at it, it's just the shape of the United States, right?
Yeah.
But he would come in here and he would drop that championship to Bruno Sammartino.
Okay.
This was lost for years.
Wow.
And then was found, I believe in like an attic, in somebody that had a relative of an associate of Buddy Rogers, had the title in an attic, found it, didn't know what it was. A collector bought it, we caught wind of it, and this was right about the time that we were inducting Bruno, which I had spent a lot of time really becoming close to Bruno. So there's one of my favorite moments is us getting this championship along the way to inducting Bruno in the Hall of Fame, and the day of the Hall of Fame at Madison Square Garden, where he sold out once again.
Yes.
Bringing him this title to show to him.
Must have been like,
He got
take it
tears
back.
in his eyes.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and he hadn't seen it since then. Like when he looked at it, he pointed out little things on it that he remembered.
That probably only he
Damn,
could,
that's
like,
tough.
see.
That, I didn't even notice him pointing out like just little imperfections in it where he's like, yeah, this is the bend where this happened or whatever. So just really cool moments. But
That's
then this
fine.
takes you down a lineage piece of what he
Crazy
was,
history.
the title that was created for him to sort of the Backlund superstar Billy Graham era to the Backlund Chic Hogan all the way through. It sort of shows the progression of the championships and what they mean. And then for me, as a kid, I was a huge fan of, especially this generation of the Intercontinental Championship. So Pat Patterson, the title that he won, Rio de Janeiro, a tournament that didn't exist, going through to, this is when I was a kid that Morocco and Tito Santana and Greg Valentine all carried, and then going through to Razor, and I had this one, and then Rock and I had that one, and then it just
Rock.
So, to me, the history of it is so strong.
Two specific sets of boots. Andre the Giant's boots you have in here, and one of your mentors, your mentor, Killer Kowalski.
Yeah.
Talk about those pairs of boots and why they're important to have in here.
Sort of an old cliched thing. I did it when I was done. Is that you put your boots down and you're done. To me, there's something iconic about that, whether it was actually done or not. So to have an Andre the Giant pair of boots in here, that Andre was so larger than life, almost to a mythical extent. Like there's a lot of things about Andre where you hear and you're not sure, like, is that true or is that like the myth and fallacy? Vince used to tell the story about Andre had 156 teeth in his head or something like that, like completely fabricated. Yeah. But it's a great story and it's great myth. But then there's stories about his drinking that are not myth,
right,
and that are just as incredible.
Yes.
I think when you see his boots, it's really symbolic of, to me, that larger than life nature. Because when you see his boots, you think like, no way, that's like an actual bird. And all this stuff has immense meaning. The
Skull King, you're known for the WrestleMania entrances.
And I don't have a lot of Triple H things in here or DX things in here. It's about the business, this room, my office, or this building, and what comes out of it. It's about the business, which is bigger than any one performer. So none of this stuff is about me. I have the Skull King masks in here because I just think they look cool as shit.
They do.
You know,
Yeah.
those are originals. There's not a lot of originals. I gave one to Metallica.
Okay.
And they let me use for Whom the Bell Tolls. I presented one to James Hetfield, and they still have it, which is really cool to me. There's also, if you look on the wall,
Licenses.
back in the day when everybody had to have wrestling licenses, it's got licenses
That's fine.
from who's who of that generation and time. And to me, that speaks to the business and the fact that there are people in there that you could say Bruno Sammartino, and people to this day are still like, oh my God, Bruno, when I was a kid. You don't understand how big Bruno was when I was a kid, or the generational. There's almost no other sport or business. It exists to some degree in baseball and football and things, but I think our performers touch people. As I said, it's like music before. They touch people in a different way, motivate them.
Yes, sir. Bret the Hitman Hart.
Be like them.
Yes.
That brings people and families together. Our business does like nothing else.
Absolutely, and I'd be remiss not to mention this week, Survivor Series, the next big one. There's been so many moments. What are we cooking up for Survivor Series? Sometimes, just to let you know, like after there's people are like, this was booked amazing. I think I take a screenshot of you on sneaker shopping. I think you're just like smirking to the camera, and I don't say anything. I just post that because what do we have in store for that event?
Survivor Series with war games now. It's war games for both the men and women, which I love. And the thing about it this year is, and I think you see it in the WrestleMania commercials, the field is wide open.
Yeah.
Right? Between a Brock Lesnar, between Roman, Punk, Cody. Seth is on the shelf right now, and he factors into that. To so many others. And then that's not even counting the new generations of the Braun Breakers, the Bronson Reeds, the younger guys that are up and coming. When people talk about the business now and they talk about where our talent are at, they're all, the top players are all in top positions and they're a bit older, but the thickness and the depth and what is underneath them is what I'm most excited about, because the field is deep. This business is going to be in good shape for a long time.
W's, Undertaker, baby.
There's a lot of people that are a part of that, don't get me wrong, but I see myself as the custodian of the history of this and its protection going forward for long after I'm not here or not a part of it. Hopefully, whoever steps into that next generation of it has that same sort of value of it.
Paul, Triple H, I can't thank you enough. This is a one-of-a-kind experience to be invited into these headquarters and see such a vast collection of so much history. So thank you so much. Great seeing you.
Thank you.
That's so fire.